Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For Duggar family latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. Anyone who's caught a few episodes of 19 Kids and Counting already knows that the Duggar kids have had very different childhoods from what many of us experienced growing up. Being under the umbrella of Bill Gothard and the Institute in Basic Life Principles meant that they weren't able to enjoy mainstream movies or music and had to follow a restrictive dress code. Of course, dancing was totally off the table because it is considered too sinful. And now that Joyanna Duggar is making the choice to break another one of the rules she used to live by, fans are cheering. Joyanna Duggar showed off her moves in a new video. In the video, Joy is dancing to Justin Timberlake's Can't Stop the Feeling as she changes into different outfits to show what a wide variety of clothing she has in her closet. One day I'm Pinterest mom, next day I'm just happy I'm dressed, she wrote in her caption, adding, "Can you tell I didn't dance as a kid?" Fans are cheering her on in the comments. In the comments, so many of Joy's followers applauded her dancing. She might not have the same moves as a professional would, but plenty of people were proud of her for doing something that was forbidden while she was growing up. "I've been following your family since before some of your siblings were even born, and I gotta say I love this content," one comment said. "You harmlessly dancing around, full of literal joy singing and rocking these outfits. You seem so happy and watching this made me happy." Another person added, "Oh my gosh, I could cry watching how happy you are dancing, not to mention to a great song. I'm so happy for you." Her critics have a lot of thoughts. On a popular Duggar-related subreddit, Joy's critics aren't all that happy for her for breaking the rules and dancing instead. Some took this opportunity to point out that this is just one of the ways the Duggars are making their religious beliefs more relatable. It's all part of the overall rebranding of fundamentalism into something more palatable to the general public, so I'm not sure Jim Bob Duggar cares as much as we think, one person wrote. "It's all a rebranding strategy, and it's working. Do they even know what real dancing is?" said another comment. "They all give the idea that their lifestyle is amazing. Some members of the family only started dancing very recently." In October, Giggling and Jeremy Volo revealed that their brother Jason Duggar's 2024 wedding to Maddie Grace was the first in their family to ever have a dance floor, which led to some truly confused wedding guests. So there were some times when the DJ would turn on a song and the dance floor would be full cause it was, like the cha-cha slide or whatever Giggling said at the time. He would turn it on, cause it tells you exactly what to do. So all these people would get out there and do it. And then he'd turn on the next song, and there would be no one out there cause no one knows how to dance, or they don't want to get out there and be the only one. Joyanna Duggar and Austin Forsyth admit they broke Jim Bob's courtship rules. When it comes to dating one of Jim Bob Duggar's daughters, we've heard plenty about just how strict his courtship rules can be. Because the children of the family date with the intent to marry the person they're courting, Jim Bob thoroughly vets any man who has been interested in one of his girls. And even once they get his seal of approval, they have to follow his guidelines. But now, Austin Forsyth is coming clean. He and Joy didn't follow those rules quite as closely as her dad would have liked. Austin appeared on Giggling and Jeremy's podcast this week. While talking with his sister and brother-in-law, Austin opened up about courting Joyanna in the early days of their relationship, something he wasn't too familiar with because it wasn't the way his family did things, despite the fact that they were also pretty conservative. But because his family had been close with the Duggars for years, he did know that this was the way they did things, and he was willing to give it a shot. That meant that all of his dates with Joy were chaperoned, though, and that's when they ended up bending the rules. Justin chaperoned most of Joy and Austin's dates. They still found a way to get one-on-one time together if they wanted to have a private conversation. However, even though that was technically against the rules. "We tell Justin to go sit in the truck," he said, later adding, "I'd be like, hey, we're going to talk. You go over there, Justin. You go in the next room or whatever. Fortunately, because Justin already knew Austin from their families interacting and had a level of trust and respect, he'd go along with it. Ginger Duggar and Lydia Plath surprise fans with epic TLC reality series crossover. It's been a long time since the Duggar family was part of a TLC reality show, but it seems like at least one of them is friends with someone who is. In an Instagram photo dump that Ginger Duggar shared over the weekend, she quietly revealed that she spent time with Welcome to Plathville star Lydia Plath, something that has definitely thrown fans for a loop. Ginger's followers recognized someone familiar in her post. Hidden among the photos that Ginger shared from her weekend are a few snaps that include Lydia and her husband, Zach Wise. In one of them, Ginger is posing for a selfie with Lydia and a couple of other women while out in Los Angeles together. It didn't take long before fans started leaving comments asking if that was Lydia Plath in the pictures, to which Ginger responded yes. Lydia also shared a photo on her own Instagram stories. Lydia shared the post on her Instagram stories, showing a photo of her and Zach sitting together on the couch in Ginger's house, holding her baby boy, Finn, who arrived at the end of March. No word on why Lydia and Zach were in lay or how she and Ginger ended up becoming friends, but it is sweet to see them enjoying time together. After all, can anyone understand what it's like to be on a TLC reality show other than another TLC reality? Star fans were happy to see Lydia and Ginger together. In the comments, fans shared just how much they were loving this counting on / Welcome to Plathville crossover. Awu, a visit from Lydia and her new husband. One person wrote. Another commenter added, "Oh, I love to see that you are friends with Lydia." Others speculated that Lydia and Zach may have visited to be guests on Ginger and Jeremy's podcast, but nothing has been announced just yet. The Duggars and the Plaths had similar upbringings. In the past, Olivia Plath has confirmed that her family and the Plath family grew up in the world of the IBLP, the Institute in Basic Life Principles, just like the Duggars did, having experienced similar restrictive childhoods and now growing up to forge their own paths. It seems like Lydia and Ginger likely have plenty to talk about on a podcast or off. Ginger Duggar reveals Mom Michelle's strange parenting methods while looking back at the family's first TV special. With more than 20 years of reality TV experience under their belts, most of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar's children ended up growing up on camera, but there's still so much fans never got to see that went on behind the scenes. Ginger Duggar is now opening up about the unusual ways her parents managed to keep so many young children on their best behavior, and although some methods are stranger than others, some actually do make a lot of sense, even for smaller families. Ginger looked back on the Duggars' first TV special. Originally airing on Discovery Health in 2004, 14 Children and Pregnant Again first introduced the Duggar family to audiences. On this week's episode of the Ginger and Jeremy podcast, Ginger looked back at scenes from the special and ended up sharing a lot of interesting details from her childhood in the process. They had to follow Code O, as most of us can probably imagine. Wrangling that many little kids while out in public has to be a challenge. But Ginger said Michelle and Jim Bob had it down to a method called Code O. They'd say Code O, and we'd hop in line in birth order, youngest in the front, oldest in the back, and we would walk around like that. Like a pack of ducks, she said on the podcast. Otherwise, everybody is spread out. You know how hard it is to keep the little two that are walking in our family around because they'll see a fountain, and they'll be like, "Let's go splash in the fountain." There was a very specific procedure when it came to loading into the car. Fans who tuned into 19 Kids and Counting know that when all of their kids were still young enough to live at home, that they usually traveled around in a large van, which would make it hard for Jim Bob and Michelle to make seatbelt checks. Instead, when they get into the car, Jim Bob would tell his kids to buckle up, and they had an incentive to buckle those seatbelts as quickly as possible. The first person to say click would get a penny, and then it would add up over time, Giggling explained. It was like a game. Jim Bob and Michelle were methodical about their one-on-one time with the kids. Ginger's parents would take a kid or two along with them anytime they ran an errand or went somewhere outside of the house to get some rare one-on-one time with their children. But at the same time, they had to keep track with a list they kept on the wall or risk someone being left out. They would start with the oldest and work your way down, and they would get to go with mom and dad to whatever errand they were running, she said on the podcast. Josh Duggar's wife Anna might be moving to a $1 million home purchased by Jim Bob Duggar. Anna Duggar might be moving into a new home while her husband is in prison. In 2022, Josh Duggar was sentenced to about 12.5 years in prison for receiving child pornography. The 19 kids and counting alum is expected to be released from prison in October 2032. Meanwhile, his wife, Anna, and her 7 children have been living with Josh's parents, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar. But that might change soon, as reports indicate that Anna might be preparing to relocate. Josh reportedly didn't want his wife to move away from his family. Anna, 36, shares daughters 15-year-old Mackenzie, 9-year-old Meredith, 5-year-old Mariella, and 3-year-old Madison, and sons 13-year-old Michael, 11-year-old Marcus, and 7-year-old Mason, and with Josh, who is 37. She and her kids have been living with Josh's parents, even though she reportedly wanted to move to Texas to be closer to him, In Touch reported. According to the publication, Josh didn't want Anna to move away from his parents because he was worried that she might feel compelled to leave him. He thinks it will create too much of a disconnection for her and his kids, an insider previously told In Touch. Jim Bob recently purchased a house in Arkansas. On April 23, In Touch reported that Jim Bob recently bought a home for around $1 million. It's conveniently located just minutes from Jim Bob and Michelle's compound, one source claimed. Rumor has it that the house is for Anna and her kids. That way, she'd still be close to Josh's parents. The home has 6 bedrooms and multiple lavish features. The 6,318 square foot property is in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Who the house is for has not been confirmed, but with 6 bedrooms and 4.5 bathrooms, the home for Anna's family. Per In Touch, it also features walk-in closets and a whirlpool bathtub. Anna has reportedly been earning money through a controversial job. With her husband in prison, Anna has reportedly been working as a dog breeder to earn money for her family. In December 2024, the U.S. Sun reported that Anna breeds golden retrievers. The publication also reported that Anna continues to her husband in prison. Ahead of Josh's sentencing, Anna supported him. She added Josh has chosen how history will remember him. By staying and supporting him, you're allowing him to choose that for you too. And I know standing up to all of this seems impossible now, but as a mama, your instinct to protect your kids always has to be stronger than your fear. Josh Duggar's request for a court-appointed lawyer has been denied. Even after a judge rejected Josh Duggar's appeal in his child pornography case in 2023 and again in 2024, the former reality star hasn't given up on trying to escape serving the rest of his sentence. But unfortunately for him, he's hit yet another dead end. His request for a court-appointed lawyer has been denied in his latest attempt to have his case reconsidered, and it certainly seems like he's running out of options at this point. The motion he filed was denied last week. As Arkansas's local news affiliate Canvivier reported on June 5, 2025, U.S. Magistrate Judge Christy Comstock said Josh's motion lacked sufficient detail and thus didn't justify his request. According to the news outlet, if the petition presents a non-frivolous claim and other factors, such as legal or factual complexity, warrant assistance, a lawyer could have been appointed. But in this case, it seems those standards weren't met. He asked for a court-appointed lawyer in May. In the documents Josh filed, he claimed that new legal theories and strategies that have emerged in public discourse could help him fight his conviction. And because as an incarcerated person, he is unable to afford an attorney on his own, he wanted the court to appoint one to him. The defendant requests counsel for the limited purpose of reviewing the record, evaluating possible constitutional claims, and, if meritorious grounds exist, preparing and filing a motion. Read the documents he filed. He wrote a letter to Judge Timothy L. Brooks. As The Sun reported, Josh wrote a letter to the judge who presided over his case when he was convicted and sentenced, Timothy L. Brooks, as part of his request. During my time of incarceration, I have worked diligently to focus on education, personal growth, my faith, and to maintain strong family ties, Josh wrote in the letter. However, as I review my case, I believe there are significant issues relating to trial errors, evidentiary rulings, and other constitutional violations that merit a thorough post-conviction review. He continued, I am unable to fully assess these matters on my own, which is why I seek the assistance of qualified counsel to help evaluate whether relief is justified. At this point, it seems likely Josh will have to serve his full sentence. Jana Duggar sparks pregnancy speculation in new travel photos. Jana Duggar was not like other girls in her village. While most children spent their days playing by the river or climbing mango trees, Jana loved to explore places no one else dared to go. Her curiosity was endless, and her heart was full of dreams. One sunny morning, while walking through the old part of the village, she noticed a strange path behind the abandoned library. Covered in vines and half hidden by tall grass, it looked like it hadn't been walked on in years. Without a second thought, Jana pushed aside the vines and followed the narrow trail. It led her to a rusty gate. Beyond it, she saw something magical, a hidden garden filled with colorful flowers, butterflies, and a sparkling fountain in the middle. The garden looked untouched by time. As Jana stepped inside, the air felt different, warmer, peaceful. She spent hours there reading an old book she found under a stone bench. The pages told stories of a secret garden that only opened to those who truly believed in magic. From that day on, Jana visited the hidden garden every afternoon. She watered the plants, talked to the birds, and wrote stories under the shade of the big banyan tree. But she never told anyone about the garden. It was her secret place where imagination came to life. And so Jana Duggar grew up to become a famous writer, the girl who once believed in magic and found a hidden world behind a forgotten gate. Now that Jana Duggar is a married lady, it seems like all that speculation about when she's finally going to tie the knot has now been replaced with a new type of speculation. After new photos surfaced of one of Jana's most recent travel adventures, 19 kids and counting fans are wondering more than ever if she's expecting. But why Jana recently visited Giggling in California. In a post that Jana Duggar recently shared on Instagram, she gave fans an update on what happened when sisters Jenna and Jessa, along with brother John David and his wife, Abby, came to visit her on the West Coast, presumably to spend time with the family and visit Ginger's new son, baby Finn. But instead of focusing on the good times that the family seemed to be having together, instead, Ginger's followers who saw the post were focused on something else entirely. Fans speculated Jenna might be expecting in the comments. So many of the comments were all about trying to figure out if Jenna is pregnant, and many fans seem totally convinced that she's expecting and just hasn't shared the news publicly yet. Anyone else zooming in to peep and see if Jana is preggo, one person wrote. Another commenter said very definitively Jana is preggers, while another asked, is Jana pregnant yet? Pregnancy rumors have been circulating quite a bit recently. Back in March, Jana first sparked pregnancy rumors when fans were convinced that she looked more swollen in photos she shared of the DIY project she was working on, along with the fact that, in the same post, she included a clip where she appeared to be holding her stomach. Jana has shared that she does want kids of her own. Though some fans believed that Jana wouldn't want to have children after she spent so much of life helping raise her younger siblings already. She corrected that misconception in an Instagram comment she shared in April. "We would love to have children of our own and are praying that God sends us some soon," she wrote in response to a fan who asked if she and husband Stephen Wisman were planning to start a family soon. But is she expecting right now? We'll just have to wait and see if Jana decides to share an update herself. For years, Jana Duggar had lived in the quiet shadows of her famous family, carrying the burden of expectations without a word of complaint. While her siblings married young and built their own families, Jana stayed back, watching, helping, waiting. Then came Caleb. He was different from the men her parents approved of, kind, thoughtful, but with a quiet rebellion in his spirit. They married in a private ceremony, away from the cameras, the public, and even some of the stricter Duggar rules. For a moment, it felt like freedom. But freedom, she would learn, doesn't come just from love, it comes from truth. Months into the marriage, cracks began to show. Caleb wanted to move to California, start fresh, but Jana found herself torn, caught between the life she'd known and the one she longed for. When disagreements turned into silence and silence into resentment, Jana realized that staying would mean losing herself again. One chilly November morning, with trembling hands and a steady heart, she signed the divorce papers. It was over. The media pounced. Headlines shouted. Her family remained mostly silent. But for the first time, Jana didn't flinch now. She lives in a small cottage outside Nashville, tending a garden, writing a memoir, and learning the taste of independence. She wears jeans. She sings in coffee shops. She smiles,